Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our study in the first letter to the Corinthians by Paul. We're going to look at our recall triad for 3:21 to 4:10 on the ethics of new temple building and the Lordship of Christ. Let's begin with block 1. Let's take a look at Paul's statement that you are of Christ. Everything needed for an ethics of temple building is already available to all believers who are in Christ. Believers also can anticipate future possibilities for Christ's kingdom. Believers are secure in Christ, and Christ is of God Himself. And then in 4:7, as believers, we are those who have fully received justification and empowered ethics solely through the pisteos Christou, the faithfulness of Christ. Now in block 2, we're going to take a look at our ethics of temple building as judged according to the ongoing Lordship of Christ. Believers are to understand themselves as spiritual overseers for their own ethics of temple building that will participate in the mysteries of God Himself. Believers are called to be remaining faithful people in their new spiritual ethics. But the secular perspective of humanity is insignificant when compared to the discerning judgment of Christ as Lord. The perspective of humanity views our ethics as foolish. We appear as foolish to the secular world, but we know that we have the truth in Christ. But to the outside world, to the secular world, we appear as foolish individuals to follow a kingdom that they cannot see, a truth they cannot perceive. Now in block 3, our ethics of temple building will be made manifest by Christ as to its true quality and to its true motivation. Our justification, which underlies our ethics, is solely established by Christ and Christ alone. Our ethics of temple building will anticipate the parousia advent of Christ in our current situations and in the second coming. Paul has given believers a metaschematizo design for the inauguration of our ethics of temple building. And fundamentally, our design of ethics is one of becoming weak in Christ or crucified with Christ, becoming asthenes, weak in Christ. So fundamentally, Paul closes out this teaching by saying, be humble, be of a humble heart, be of a contrite mind when working out your ethics. Let's take a look at our 4-point focus. I love this chance to get a snapshot of the lesson. In the 4-point focus, Paul's ethics of temple building is built upon the foundation of pisteos Christou, the faith of Christ. We have received justification through Christ's faithfulness. Then, our schematizo design of ethics unfolds as follows. First, by the secular humanity, our ethics makes us appear as foolish overseers of something that they cannot see, something not seen. 2, as a transcendent design of ethics, we spiritually perceive the photizo to Christou. We see what Christ brings to light for the believer. This is our strength and weakness which others cannot see. But we have spiritual perception through Christ's Spirit. And then 3rd, for Paul, an authentic Christ-centered ethic means a starting point and an ending point of humility, or asthenes. Humility is our beginning, humility is our end of our Christian ethics. That is of priority to Paul, and the entire lesson is that humility takes priority. That's his foundational statement. And the reason he says that is because basically, remember, he says at the very beginning, be humble because everything you have, you received as a gift. Everything you have in your true human identity, your true spiritual identity, your true spiritual strength, your true spiritual wisdom, was all given to you as a gift by God through Christ His Son. It was given to you not of your merit. You did not earn it. You did not acquire it on your own. It was given as a gift. Be humble, because everything you have received. You've been the recipient. It's been passive on your part. You have received the gift of divine grace. No one understood that more than Paul, who previously had murdered Christians, killed Christians as a fundamentalist Pharisee. No one knew the truth of grace more than Paul. And he taught humility because he reinforced that in his own mind. He reinforced that in his own heart. He lived his entire life with the knowledge that he had murdered Stephen, that he had actually participated in the stoning of Stephen. And he saw Stephen glow in his faith at the moment of death. And that was perceived by Paul, and Paul lived with that all of his life. And he knew God's grace better than anyone. Damascus Road was a gift of grace. Paul realized it, and he taught it. He proclaimed it, and he taught it. We have great recall triad here on what is the shape of our Christian ethics, our ethics of new temple building. Corinthians is all about Paul's birth of ethics. We have covered Galatians, the birth of the gospel. Thessalonians, the birth of eschatology. Ephesians, the birth of Christian doctrine. And now Corinthians, the birth of Christian ethics. Our 2017 studies have been tremendous. We are truly learning the thread of teaching from the Apostle Paul, from Galatians through Thessalonians, through Ephesians, and now Corinthians. We're learning the ethics of new temple building. That's going to wrap up this recall triad. We'll pick up next time at chapter 4, verse 11.